series is going to be, which is two tutorials in one video using mostly the same products. So for one look, I'm going to do a really fun drag look, and my other one is going to be like an everyday kind of glam. I still wear a lot of makeup for the daytime, so a very natural look. My finger cracked when I did that. Did you hear that? So today I'm going to be using Patrick Starr's One Size Beauty. I was lucky enough to review the One Size makeup wipes and spray earlier, and I just got this box in the mail earlier this week, so I'm super excited to play with the makeup. Big picture of Patrick upside down. Very cute. I'm really excited to try these out, and we'll get right into it. Okay, so I went ahead and put on the One Size headband because we're representing today, and I also put in some contacts. I'm wearing blue contacts from Pinky Paradise. I'll put them down below. I also do have a coupon code with Pinky Paradise, so I'll put that in the description as well. I'm not going to glue down my hairline today just because I'm going to be wearing like a black wig that doesn't have a lace front. Shocking. So the first thing that I'm going to do is apply a primer. I'm using the DHC Velvet Skin coat. So today for foundation, I'm going to be using the foundation that I normally wear on a daily basis, which is the Maybelline Superstay 24 Hour. I actually haven't worn it for drag before, but I've seen Trixie use it in a bunch of videos after I recommended it to her years ago because I was wearing it for my like day face. So I'm going to try it as like my actual foundation and see how that looks. I have the shade 128 Warm Nude, and I'm going to apply that all over. I'm going to be using the Makeup Shack T40 brush, which is just a really fluffy brush. Now I'm going to use my sponge from ColourPop and apply more foundation to smooth it out all over the face. It's super funny applying this for like drag makeup because normally I only use like half a pump of this foundation for my regular day face, and I'm using like 4 pumps full for like a drag face. Now I'm going to use my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in Medium Sand to highlight. I'm going to take a little bit of that e.l.f. Concealer in Fair Warm and add a little bit more brightness underneath the eye. So now I'm going to go in with my CC Beauty palette in that brown shade. I'm going to use that to contour. I'll be using just a concealer brush to apply that. Okay, so I went ahead and did the rest of my face routine. If you want to know how I did this, you can watch the Barbie Bimbo tutorial or the tutorial for the Lisa Frank fantasy. I do my face like base pretty much the same. The only thing different this time is that I used this foundation. Then I went in with my eyebrows. I did the ABH Dipbrow pomade in dark brown with a little bit of the Inglot Duraline. Okay, so I did my brows just kind of like a basic ombre brow. Hopefully they're even.
Girl, please. No, sorry.
They look even to me, but I'm also like
no thoughts, head empty.
Just dissociating. I'm going to go in with my brow pen. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I think I'm going to do soft brown. It's really awesome because it has like that brush tip to it, so it's not like felt, it's not thick, so you can make really fine, teeny tiny, teeny peeny shrimpy,
eeny teeny peeny shrimp
brow pen lines. So I'm going to go through and just really lightly, it's all about wrist control with this, and being like really delicate with your wrist, and create brow hairs first in the front going upwards, and then in the rest of the brow going in the direction that the brow normally goes in. This is what I do for my normal brow. It's just going to be like higher. That was super easy to apply despite the fact that my brows are like really sweaty right now because it's like super hot in LA. I actually went through and did soft brown and dark brown to give it a little bit more depth, because when I did it with the soft brown I just like was not dark enough. And then I went through with the dark brown to give it a little bit more. The next thing that I'm going to do is apply a little bit of primer. Patrick doesn't have a primer yet, so I'll be using a little bit of the ABH primer all over. Okay, so here is the palette. I do like that it has like a huge mirror. This one is like very neutral but does have those pops of color, and I think it'll be really good to like travel with. For this look today, I'm kind of feeling like a little bit more 60s inspired. Mr. Creme and I just watched the trailer for Valley of the Dolls and Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, so I've got a little bit of like 60s like mod inspiration from that. So I think the first thing I'm going to go into is Taupe of my game. And I'm using the Anastasia A12 brush. Okay, so first impression, very soft, super easy to blend. I'm going to go in with probably Brownie next, which is that darker brown. I'm going to switch over to, this is the ColourPop E2. The next thing that I'm going to do is go in with the A13 brush from Anastasia, go into Brownie, that dark brown color, and do like the liner that goes all the way down and around my eye. I'm going to switch over to the A14 for the innermost corner. That's working way better. I keep lightly tapping my nose because it's like very hot and I'm getting like little beads of sweat all over my face, so pardon me. I'm going to go into Turban Legend with this Morphe brush. It's the Morphe M408 and it's just like a very stubby little thin brush. Turban Legend is just like a matte black color, and I'm going to create kind of like a crease with that. I'm going to outline like where I want that crease to be. Okay, so where I did that black crease, I'm going to go in with a little micellar water and remove like anything that's like underneath it just to get a really clean crease. So I ended up going over that with one of Patrick's Go Off wipes just because the micellar water was like taking forever. So now I'm just going to go through and add more primer to that crease just so I can apply the shadow. So now I'm going to use my brush. This one's from HipDot. It doesn't have like a name or a number, but it's just a flat brush. And I'm going to go into Rebel Gray, which is like a really pretty kind of gray ice blue color. Like a silvery ice blue, and go over that. Yeah, that's really pretty. It's almost kind of like lavendery. Okay, now that I have that color on there, I'm going to go in with that Morphe brush again and Turban Legend and redefine that crease with more black. I'm smoking it out a little bit, but not too much because I want it to be a little bit more graphic. So what I'm going to do on top of that is use Let's Pump. This is the, what is it called? Sparkle Vision eyeshadow. So it's kind of like an eye, like topper, I'm assuming. And it's kind of like a silvery champagne-y color. And I'm going to go over a little bit of that blue with that. It's adding what I wanted because it has like a silver sparkle to it, even though it's a little bit more champagne-y. I think I'm going to do another layer, especially towards like the crease area to make it a little bit more vibrant. Okay, so I'm going to go in and do that white eyeliner that I normally do, except I have an idea. I have a vision. Okay, I think I'm going to do electric blue underneath there. I'm going to use this blue color, which is Mon Bleu 2. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. But that really pretty, it has like almost a shimmer to it too, like a little faint glitter. I'm going to use that as my bottom liner. I am wearing like blue contacts today, so I kind of want it to like pop and be a little funky. So like fingers crossed that this actually like looks good and it doesn't make me look like a demon. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is a watercolor brush, very fine point, ABH eye primer, and draw in that liner. Okay, so I went ahead and created the shape for that liner. I'm trying not to look up too much or like ruin it. But I'm going to go in with that Morphe brush that I used. I cleaned it off, and going in with that bright blue. And I'm going to like press it into that primer. Okay, so now I'm going to take Turban Legend with that Morphe brush, and I'm going to go ahead and add black. So I'm taking Turban Legend with that Morphe brush, and I'm going from the outer part of that lower liner all the way out to meet the top of this. That way when I apply my liquid liner, it'll kind of blend into all that. Now I'm going to take Turban Legend with that same Morphe brush and bring that black down to meet that blue liner. Okay, this is a special moment because Patrick advertises this liquid liner as drag proof. Okay, so we're going to see about that. I am a drag queen. It is Los Angeles. It is boiling hot. I am sweating already. So we're going to try this and see if it's truly drag proof. Normally, you know, I go in with my gel liner and then I go in with the liquid liner on top. This promises to be super dark, super opaque, really awesome, and like waterproof in 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this instead of layering it with a bunch of stuff and see how it goes. This does have a felt tip, by the way, if you guys were wondering. Okay guys, so I've applied my liner with the, what is it actually called? Point Made liquid liner, and I have to say it actually went on very, very easily. Super dark. I did notice that unlike other pen liners, this was super smooth to put on and it didn't skip or grab to any area of the eye. Like, you know when you use like a pen liner, like whether it be like a felt or a brush tip, sometimes the tip gets dry and just stops and like skips. Like whether it's new or old. I had no issues with this liner, applying it very smoothly. I could still feel it kind of wet on my eye, so I'm trying not to like lift my eyes up too much. I am going to go in with the pencil liner. This is the Point Made Bodacious Black 24-hour eye gel eyeliner pencil. Okay. So I'm going to go in with that. I'm going to do the upper part of underneath my lashes, get that nice and dark, and then I'm going to apply it to the bottom as well, just from the outside of the outer eye, going about halfway in. So I went in and I did the liner on the top, and then I also tried to go over the top liner a little bit, like just over my lashes with this, and it broke, and I don't blame it. It's very roasty toasty in here, and a lot of like gel liners tend to do that, so I'm not gonna like fault it for that. I did notice that the liquid liner, as easy as it was to put on, it doesn't dry to like a matte. It definitely dries to like a little bit of a shine. So I went ahead and applied Turban Legend, that black matte shadow, over it with just like this Morphe M208 brush, and just patted it over just to mattify it a little bit more. If you like a shiny liner, then you're gonna like it a little bit more. I tend to like my liner is like very matte, just because I wear so much liner and so many lashes that I want it to be like matte and not reflective. So I'm going to go in with a little watercolor brush and a little bit more of that sparkly cream shadow eye popper, and I'm going to do a little bit of a line between that blue liner and that black liner, like where they meet on the inner corner. I'm going to do the same like right underneath where that wing is and bring it out. Yeah, this makeup kind of gives me like Elizabeth Taylor and Cleopatra vibes, like with the blue and like the darkness of it. I'm going to go ahead and apply mascara. I'll be using the ABH Lash Brag. And again, like when I do mascara for drag, all I really want is to make my lashes black. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take that liquid liner again and then define that bottom line where that blue is right underneath. I went ahead and like brought it all the way out and a little bit down. Now I'm going to do everything that I did on this side to the other side. Okay, so I finished off my other eye. I think what I'm going to do next is grab my nose contour brush, and it's this random like angled shader that I've shown you guys before. I'm going to go into Brownie a little bit and then bring that nose contour down a little bit more from the eye. I just kind of want to like snatch it a little bit more, and that like dark brown will help me do that a little bit better. I'm going to take a little bit of the e.l.f. concealer in Fair Warm, and I'm going to redefine my boob a little bit more because I kind of lost it from like brushing off powders and stuff. Just like that. Now I'm going to take that Morphe M408 brush. This is now clean. I'm going to go into Manila Sands, which is that really light color right here. It's kind of just like a very nice custardy basic color. I'm going to define underneath my brow a little. I'm definitely feeling like very 60s B-movie, like the slutty like go-go dancer that like goes crazy after trying drugs for the first time. Like very that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply my lashes. I'll do my base lashes first, and then for my bottom ones, I'm going back to porcelain bottom lashes from Sugarpill. Like, I know I tried a different lash last time, but I like literally cannot stay away from these bottom lashes. They're so cute and piecey and chunky and like perfect for a 60s fantasy look. Go in with brownie a little bit and deepen my contour just because I want to look a little more snatched. Yeah, I think that's good. And the same around my jawline and stuff. This looks so cute. It's definitely like dark. I said like earlier, like I don't know if it was going to turn out dark because of the blue liner, but it is and I like it. Mr. Creme just said like Cleopatra Presley. That's very much what I feel right now. So like a cross between like Elizabeth Taylor and like Priscilla Presley. Like Elizabeth Taylor and Cleopatra. And then just Priscilla Presley normally because she wore like so many lashes and a lot of liner. Okay, so now that I've contoured the face, it looks great. What I'm going to do next is add some jewels around the eyes because it's still me and I still like putting jewelry all over my face. So I'm just going to take my silver stones, the ones that I've shown you guys before, they're just Amazon stones. Okay, so I applied the little jewels around there and like even just putting them on like the outside, like here, like right underneath my liner, like it's giving me the fantasy, like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the fantasy. It's very like, now it's like elevated, it's like 60s like showgirl. I love it. So the next thing that I'm going to do is blush. The first blush that I'm going to apply is actually the Peachy Love, and as you can see, I use this one a lot, from ABH. I feel like something peachy. I'm going to do more of like a peachy lip color too. Is a little bit more appropriate, especially for like the 60s. It was like more orangey toned blushes. I don't know why I'm looking into like the little mirror when I have like this huge mirror like right here. So I'm going to switch them out. I'm going to use also Girl on Girl from Trixie Cosmetics, which is this peachy one right here. Kind of like as a topper. Yeah, that's pretty. I feel like on my skin tone, Girl on Girl alone isn't like amazing. I have to use like something else to bring out the color a little bit more. But like as a blush topper, it works really beautifully. And again, using a tiny mirror when I could just be using this giant one. So I'm going to switch it out again. Okay, so I'm going to go in with ColourPop. This is Manifest That. Their Super Shock Highlighter. This is one of the new ones. And I'm going to use my Morphe M521 brush. It's a little bit more precise. And apply that highlighter. And this one's like super bright. It has more of like a, it's like one of their Super Shock like jelly ones, so it has more of a wet texture. So I go in with my finger after to just like blend it out a little bit. Use it on my nose, on the boob, Cupid's bow, and chin. So I'm going to go back with that liner because I saw some places where it wasn't like as defined as I would like it to be. I'm just going to go over. Perfect. Okay, lip time. So I'm going to be trying two new products from Trixie Cosmetics. I'm going to be trying the new Bauble lipstick, and I think Bauble is like the perfect peachy, nude, maybe a little bit too nude pink. And I'm going to do a brown lip liner with it just because I know like on my skin tone, well, I'm going to use a lip liner period because it's drag and I need to like overdraw my lips. But I'm going to be using it especially because I know this lipstick is going to be very light, which is the point. But also definitely need a darker lip liner for sure. Then I'm going to top it with the Cream Puff what is this, like a lip gloss? I don't know what they're called. What are they called? They're just lip glosses, I guess. The cream puff color. Yeah. And it looks like this. It's very cute. Heart-shaped little tube. The same way that Trixie's lipsticks are like heart-shaped tubes. Like this. They're very cute. I remember her showing me the product designs for these like maybe a year before Trixie Cosmetics launched. And I was like, that's like super cute. So I'm going to go in with my dark brown lip liner. This is Vibes from Morphe. And do my usual shape. I've been getting so much hate on my lips on social media lately because I've been using like makeup hashtags to like expand my reach. And a lot of people that search like the regular everyday makeup tags like don't understand that I'm doing drag and are like, I hate the lips, I hate like too much this, too much that, like blah blah. And then some girl like tried to fight with me. It was like very weird, so I'm just like deleting all of those comments because it's like very much like, ma'am, I'm sure you've never seen a drag queen before in your life, like you have no idea what you're looking at here, and I understand it's very confusing. It's very confusing. I don't think a lot of these like trolls realize that like, look at me. My nose is fake. My eyes are fake. My eyebrows are fake. There's brown lines going across my face. Like if I did like the tiniest little lip, like it would just look like this. It would look like this, like if I didn't put anything on. I would have like the tiniest like baby lips ever. Okay, so that's about the shape that I'm going to make. I'm going to apply the lipstick. You know what I watched again earlier? Those metalhead reaction to Beyonce songs.
Yeah.
I love those. I don't know why. I love seeing like metalheads react to Beyonce songs. It's like so entertaining to me. They're always shook that she's like amazing. Perfect. I'm going to go through with a concealer brush and just like clean up a little bit of that lip color with some foundation. Okay. I think Trixie did like an amazing job at recreating that perfect like chalky peachy color from all of those like 60s like ads and movies. This is Bauble. I think it's such a pretty peachy lipstick. I'm going to do the Cream Puff lip gloss over it. It looks very similar. Very like peachy. You can see this is Bauble and what is this called? What did I just say? Cream Puff? Bauble and Cream Puff together. They're very similar. I'm going to do a little bit. People get especially angry if I do lip gloss on like a fake lip too, so ready for those comments. I think I'm done. It looks so cute. I'm going to go ahead and get dressed, put my wig on, put my clothes on and my jewelry, get into like the full like 60s fantasy, and I'll be right back. And this is the finished look. I definitely feel very much like a 60s B-movie, like runaway, go-go dancer sort of like vibe, like very, very 60s B-movie. Definitely very Cleopatra Presley, like especially in this hair, more of like a 60s like dark brown like tassel kind of look, but like still very voluminous. I have like these blue earrings that bring out the blue liner that we did. Overall, I was like very, very happy with the way that the eyeshadow palette performed for drag makeup. It went on very smoothly. It blended out really beautifully. I'm definitely going to try that out for the next tutorial that's going to come up right after this. I'm like really happy with the way that the 60s look turned out. A little bit darker than I intended, but very cute. I really did love the Bauble lipstick and Cream Puff lip gloss from Trixie Cosmetics. I think that was like the perfect color to go along with this. These are like a reveal gloss. If you guys like these really beautiful glasses, they are from Pearls and Swine. They are located in the UK. They sent me these glasses along with another pair and they're just so beautiful. They have like little baby cherubs across the eye part right here. It's like very like Hollywood Regency and like little cherubs like down here too. It's super cute. I think it goes very well with this look. So stay tuned to see me use these cosmetics in more of the daytime look. Hello, it is me, the egg. I'm here to do my daytime tutorial. I'm first going to start off with Good Molecules Priming Moisturizer. I already did my whole skincare routine, including SPF. I do like this moisturizer because it's a little bit more, well, it's a primer moisturizer. I've talked about it before on my channel. For my daytime makeup, I just like really moisturized skin. I'm not like a huge fan of like silicone-based primers for the daytime. My coverage for daytime is also, I would say about medium. I use a full coverage foundation, but I only use a little bit and kind of spread it around everywhere. I'm going to be using the same foundation that I used for the drag look that I did, which is the Maybelline Super Stay, and I am in the shade Warm Nude. I use about 1 pump, and I'm only going to use maybe half of this, and then I'll leave the rest of it so I can use it as like a cleanup for my eyebrows later. So I just tap my finger into it, and I like to do like 1 dot on the forehead, on the cheeks, chin, and nose, just like that. You can see there's still a ton of it on my hand. I'm going to go back in with that Makeup Shack brush. This is the T40. Again, just a really dense big brush. Now I'm going to go in with my ColourPop sponge. I'm going to dip into a little bit more and apply just a tiny bit more on the forehead, and then use whatever's left over to just blend it out. Again, I don't like to use like a heavy amount of foundation during the daytime, so you're definitely still going to see like some imperfections here and there. You can see some like blemishes popping through. I don't really care. I like it to look a little bit more skin-like for the daytime and not quite as heavy. I am going to use my e.l.f. concealer in medium sand. I don't do a whole lot. I like to do maybe like a little swipe under the eye, and then I'll mostly just blend it out through here with the sponge. Whatever's left over of that concealer, I typically go over the nose with it, just because my nose has the hardest time like fading acne spots no matter what I use. If it's on my nose, it's going to take like forever to go away. So for drag, I typically use the RCMA setting powder. That's just the translucent one. For my day face, I'm using the ABH setting powder in Banana. I am going to dip my sponge into a little bit of the powder and like take off as much as I can on my hand, and then just use whatever's left over to set my under eye and my nose. Then I'm going to take my ColourPop F1 brush, just a big fluffy brush, into the banana powder and set the rest. As you can see, I haven't touched my forehead or anything above like my eye yet. It's because I like to do my brows first, and I like to use the slickness of like the wet foundation just to kind of do what I normally do with my brows. I'm going to be using the ABH Dipbrow in dark brown and one of these watercolor brushes. So the first thing that I like to do is use my brush to create like a line, basically just like a guideline for what the bottom of my brow is going to be, and then work from there. So just like that. So if I was a chola, I would just stop here. But we're going to do like more of a fluffy full brow. I am going to take that brush, dip it in a little bit more of that dip brow, and going from the bottom of that base up, flicking upwards and creating brow hairs, kind of like in the direction that it would naturally grow in. Okay, so I created like the fluffiest, messiest eyebrow in the world. Now I'm going to go back and clean it up with my concealer brush. I'm using the Anastasia A4 brush and that foundation that is left over on my hand, and I'm just going to go and clean it up on top and make it a little bit sharper and thinner. So they're basically going to look like this. Now I'm going to do that on the other side. I hope my eyebrows are even.
Girl, please. No, sorry.
You get what you get. But I'm going to go ahead and set with my setting powder and the sponge. I'm like pushing it in there basically. I just wanted to set the Dipbrow because I'm going to go over that with something else later. I'm going to go in with my contour kit from ABH. I like to mix these two colors together here. Just do like a very gentle contour. Then I like to take the same brush, I kind of pinch it a little bit and go down really lightly the sides of my nose. Now I'm dipping into the Banana and Vanilla and just using that to kind of brighten up the under eye and softening up that like bronzer on my nose. Now I'm going to go in with the Anastasia brow pen in dark brown and create short like hair-like strokes in the brow going in the direction the brow normally goes in. This is what's going to give me that depth and look. I mean like cartoon hairs, but like hairs. Okay, now that I have that done, I'm going to apply some blush. I like applying blush before like anything else just because I don't like seeing like my face not have too much life. I'm using the Peachy Love blush and I apply a liberal amount in the daytime. I like that super heavy blush look. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the Patrick Star palette. I think I'm going to do something with like the olive tones. I'm going to go with Soft Serve first, then Matcha. When it comes to my daytime makeup, I typically don't use a base unless I'm using like a really bright color, which is very rarely. Usually for my daytime makeup, I keep it pretty neutral, so I don't typically use a base for that. So I'm going in with Soft Serve and the Anastasia A12 brush, and I'm just doing that like a soft transition. Now I'm going to go in with a HipDot brush and dip into Matcha, which is a really pretty olivey green, and apply that directly in the crease. That's showing up really beautifully. That's like a very strong color. That's really pretty. You usually have to work to make colors like this pop up. I'm going to take that A12 brush again and go into Taupe of My Game. I'm going to use that to like buff everything out. I'm going to take an Anastasia A10 brush and go into Manila Sands. And in the front of the eye, just kind of like buff out that color a little bit more. For my eyes, I don't really like too much dark on the inside for like my everyday makeup. I'm going to take my HipDot brush again and go into Brownie. And I'm going to apply this on the outer corner. Now I'm going to go with a 14 brush from Anastasia and take Matcha and then do that on the bottom. Now I'm going to take Brownie and do it on the bottom outer. Now I'm going to take Turban Legend and do it on the very outer part because I'm going to do cat eyeliner, so I want it to like meet it there too. Take my concealer brush, a very, very thin amount of eye primer. I'm going to do like a half cut crease. So I do it like this. I put a very, very, very thin amount of that on there. The first thing that I'm going to do is take a clean A14 brush and I'm going to go into, I think, Manila Sands and just do that on the inner corner. And I'm going to take the HipDot brush that's like a little flat and I'm going to go into all of it. All of it. All of it.
All of it.
All of it. I love it.
I love it.
I love it. It's a very pretty like green gold. It's like very khaki. Now I'm going to go back in with that HipDot brush, the fluffier one. Go back into Brownie and like blend that together. Same on the other side. The only thing that this doesn't have that I typically use with my everyday makeup is like a light champagne-y kind of shimmery or light gold, something to put in the inner corner of my eye. I use Manila Sands, but it's like a matte color, so I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Super Shock highlighter and manifest that and just apply like a little bit of a shimmer to the inner corner. Then I'm going to take my HipDot, like the fluffier brush. I'm going to dip it into Matcha and very lightly buff out that bottom shadow. I'm going to add a little bit more shimmer with the Continental One Size Shimmer Knowing Patrick, this is probably named after the Miss Continental pageant. I'm sure it has to be. She's such a pageant queen. So I'm going to go over that green that we used on the lid and pat it out. That's really pretty. I like that color a lot. Now I'm going to go in with the Point Made eyeliner and do a cat eye. Okay, perfect. If you see my eyeballs leaking, mind your business. My allergies have been really bad this weekend, so my eyes are a little bit more sensitive than usual. I think like pollen gets worse when it's hotter. Can anybody confirm that? Science, YouTube. I'm taking the gel liner in black and lining the top. And by top I mean right under my lashes in that tight line area. I'm taking a little bit of Turban Legend with that 814 brush and like popping it in the areas where my eyes are watery to like dry it because it doesn't want any eyeliner on it. That worked pretty well. I'm going to go apply my mascara. Again, I'm using the Lash Brag from ABH. I will be wearing lashes today. I wear lashes pretty much all the time because I'm not lash endowed, but I mostly focus my mascara on my bottom lashes. I do like more of a full like bottom lash, a little spidery if you will. I'm going to go in with my Morphe M408 into Turban Legend, which is that black. I'm going to use it on the outer corner to kind of meet that liner. So for the lashes that I'm using today, I have two ABH lashes stacked. I have Fashion and Domina. Fashion being on the bottom and Domina on top. Even though it's a regular day face for me, I still tend to stack my lashes for one reason. I like a fluffy lash, but fluffy lashes are really hard to find ones that are like really curly and that stay up on their own. I'll use like a regular lash that's like a little stiffer and has like a stiffer curl but isn't like fluffy to kind of use as a base for the fluffy lash so that it like forces a fluffy lash to like stay curled. I don't like forcing a curl on the lashes and like putting them through an eyelash curler because I find that it just makes a weird angle versus like actually curling them. So I have one here. I have some glue on it. Now I'm going to apply my highlighter. I am going to use Manifest That from ColourPop. I'm going to apply it with the Morphe M521 brush. I like to do a little bit on the cupid's bow and a little bit on the nose. And a little bit down the nose, like that, and then blend it down. Kind of like in between the eyes. Now I'm going to do my lips. I have the liner in Vibes from Morphe. I like to apply it and then kind of like smear it in. And I do overline my lips on a regular day anyway, just because I can. I'm going to apply the Sugar Pill Liquid Lipstick in Doll Up. This is a really pretty like nude peachy shade. It's a little bit darker and more neutral than Bauble from Trixie Cosmetics. I'm not going to use that for my regular day face just because I don't think it's going to be very flattering. This is a really pretty liquid lipstick. The Sugar Pill liquid lipsticks stay forever, especially these glitter ones. They last for a really, really, really long time. I find that they last longer than like most all of my liquid lipsticks throughout the day. And when you smack your lips like that, you can see some of the glitter that comes out. So I'll apply it and show you. I'm going to go in with my concealer brush and clean up around the lip line. So this is the final look. You can see that this has a little bit of that shimmer. I remember like working at Sephora when the Ciate glitter flip, it was a lip flip, glitter flip lip, lipsticks came out and people were like going nuts over them. And there were like a bunch of YouTube videos of like people just like the Sugar Pill ones are like the better version of that. I really like this look. I actually am going to go over with my blush brush, whatever is left on it, and just like dust a little bit more. If you don't like a lot of blush, don't do it. Totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and partially do my hair and maybe change out of the shirt. We'll see, and I'll be right back. I did notice that when I was doing my hair that my eyeliner is actually not as thick as I normally like it to be, so I'm going to make it thicker. You see the difference? This is like a lot better. Okay, so now that I've made my eyeliner thicker, I'm super happy with the look. I think this is very pretty. This is what I would normally do like on a regular day. Overall, I think that this palette applied really beautifully both with a base and without a base. It's definitely very difficult for a lot of shadows to do well with both a primer and without a primer, so I think that this palette really does a beautiful job. I'm very excited to see what Patrick has coming next. Hopefully a matte eyeliner, that would be really awesome. Everything else applied really beautifully. I'm really excited to see how the gel liner wears throughout the day, and I really hope that we get to see more palettes from Patrick, but like a lot more colors. I think this was a great like first palette to come out with, just because it's like very neutrals, like basic, like everyday colors. If I was going on vacation, I would definitely take this. I would just take this palette because it has like every color that I need to use. I will say they are very pigmented. They look a little bit lighter in pan and then a little bit deeper on the skin. I will say that that's a really awesome thing, just because this does seem to be a very skin tone friendly palette. So I feel like for deeper skin tones this would work really beautifully, just because they're so pigmented, so soft, and apply really beautifully, and nothing feels chalky at all. The colors feel really bold and like full-bodied, if that makes sense. Like there's definitely no talkiness or chalkiness to the shadows. So overall, I really love this makeup. I'm super excited to see what Patrick has coming out. I'm like hoping for like face products, because you know Patrick knows like a good foundation. I'm like ready to let go of this Maybelline Superstay. Sorry about it. Sorry about us. If Patrick can give me something better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed two tutorials in one video. It's a lot to watch. But thank you so much for sticking around. Next video, I'll be doing something fun and doing some more makeup. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. I am choking. Have a wonderful week.